preparing these slides, I thought maybe I should say art because that's sort of what I'm doing, right? Let's go to the next slide. So that was the first question. What do you want to be when you grow up? Yeah? Any thoughts? Anyone? What did you want to be when you grow up? Yeah. Sorry? Oh, you want to make movies. Okay. So then the next question. Okay, what jobs do you want to do in the future? Is that still the same? Or is that different? Right? If it's still the same, then your career counselor will tell you what are you doing about it to make you realize this dream. Right? Next slide. So I thought I will share with you the 7 values that help me shape the kind of choices that I make. Yeah? So I started like you, very, very young. At 13 years old, I saw this production of Treasure Island at Brisbane Park. Yeah? So it was Act 3, 3 actors, they played all the parts. And then I was this young 13-year-old boy with no neck, very fat, yeah, watching the show. Then I got blown away because I thought, wow, how can these 3 people, without a lot of sex, tell this fascinating story? Yeah? And so that got me going. That whatever I wanted to do, I wanted to involve my imagination and creativity. That for me is very important. If I'm not being imaginative, if I'm not being creative, I get very bored very quickly. Yeah? So those are my 2 values. Next. Then I got my first full-time job. Third full-time job. So my first job was theatre practice, 实践剧场. So I actually spoke Mandarin at one time in my life quite fluently. And then it was financial crisis. So 2 years, it was the best 2 years of my life because I learned patience, I learned prototyping. My first script that I wrote went through 13 drafts, but I learned so much from not giving up. Right? You just keep at it. And what was fascinating after the 13 drafts is that I can see the actors really having fun on stage, and it works. So there is value in not giving up. Yeah? And then my second job very quickly was LaSalle, short while, and then this was my third job, which was the Associate Artistic Director of Theatre Works. Right? It was something not expected. I didn't go and dream that I would do this one day. I think it was like a dream come true. I couldn't believe it myself. That they wanted to create a new department, education and outreach, and they said, can you join us and do this? So it was meant to be 3 years, but I stayed for 4. And in that time, I learned to make a lot of connections with schools, with communities. And what really excited me in the job was the fact that I could collaborate with different people. So these pictures, they all mean quite a lot to me. So I started with schoolwork. Then they said, oh, it's not good enough to do schoolwork. After the interest in what we do, can you do something for the main audience so that there is follow through? The school children can then come and support Singapore writing. So that got me really excited in the Writers' Laboratory. So this was the play, Marriage of Inconvenience. And it was really fun because I actually went to audition Filipino actors from the Philippines, and we did a collaboration here. So it was really like, wow, that's possible to work beyond just Singapore. Yeah? And then we went on to do other plays. And then I'm going to talk very quickly about this Laos project, which was with the Royal Ballet Theatre, where I basically used my skills in theatre and education and worked with their community to travel to 20 different schools within the district of Luang Prabang in Laos. And that taught me a lot of things because suddenly you realize, wow, this culture is something that they've forgotten. And that's the first time in my life when I saw people watching shows They were not watching from the comfort of seats like this, but they were on the branches of trees, they were in the fields, and not just the school children came, the entire village came. Right? And that really opened my mind to think that actually, in the arts, if we do something meaningful, if we do something important, people will come. Right? And we don't have to worry too much. So those were the things. And of course, the last project, Play on Earth, this was, I think, early when Skype just appeared in our world. Right? So we were doing a show with Skype with 3 countries. It was crazy. It was never done before. But we learned so much just from the experiment. Right? So for me, those values are quite important. And then of course, I then went away to do my master's. Then when I came back, I was thinking, what do I do next? I've taught, I've directed companies, what do I do next? So the job at the National Arts Council came up, and it was for the Singapore Arts Festival, and it was about outreach. It was about connecting with communities, with schools, with volunteers. And looking back at my 5 years of the Arts, 5 years of the Arts Festival, I think these 3 words, empowerment, experiences, and learning, became very, very important to me. And I think with these 3 words, they got me thinking about what are the stuff I can do with other people who are interested in the same values that I have. So by my last year with the Arts Festival, we actually ran a festival with volunteers, entirely held by volunteers and young people like yourselves. So the entire month we had exhibition, crafts, and workshop. So these are the 7 values that I feel are still relevant to me today in whatever projects that I do. Yeah, which is, just to go back again, imagination and creativity, next, connections, collaboration, next, empowerment, experiences, and learning. So what will the future of the job be like? I won't show you the video because you can watch it yourself, but the summary point is this. It needs to be inclusive. And I think that's a word that we heard from quite a number of our speakers today. That we need to think about inclusivity in a very big way, right? We need to think how to be fair. These days, if you're not fair, people will call you out very quickly. Right? How do you be fair? And the last one, how do you be sustainable? Okay, next. So these were 2 videos that I was going to share. I think I won't need to share because you can take it on your own. But very quickly, food memories came about at a time where circuit breaker was, reopening, opening. So the project went through a lot of changes. But we were happy that it went through. And it wasn't just one person doing this residency, which I could have, but I invited different friends to be part of the project. So I had Moses doing stop motion with the seniors. I had Keith doing embroidery with the seniors, and I was doing storytelling. And then we did a pop-up exhibition, which was really empowering to see the seniors taking ownership of their creation and really talking to the public, right? So the Lion Defenders got so happy, they have invited me back. But this time on a much smaller scale, and just by myself doing another 4 months residency. And then the other example is Open Homes. It's a really, really special project where we work with residents over 6 months to tell their own stories. It sounds really easy and simple to do, but I tell you, the steps and the care that's needed really demands a lot. And there are many moments where, when I was creating this project, people thought I was mad, and they think it's not possible, right? And even in this COVID times, how are you going to do it? But I think if we have faith and we are clear about what we are doing, it will happen. Right? So Open Homes actually happened last year, despite the COVID situation in Adelaide. So this picture is this couple who moved to Adelaide, and their journey, their story was called Journey to the South. and they were reflecting on their move, their migration from Singapore to Adelaide, and they ended their piece asking themselves, what have we lost in this journey, in this move, in this migration? And the funny thing is, both their sons, who don't speak Mandarin, when they grew up there when they were 9, 10 years old, the elder son actually told the mother and father he wants to learn Mandarin and maybe he wants to come back for national service. Yeah. So I think sometimes these are bonuses that we didn't set up to do with our arts, but sometimes it happens, right? Okay. So so coming back to Singapore, right? So it's not just about me, but what about what areas are we looking at? So I chanced upon this. I'm sure some of you have seen it, which was just in December. The skills in digital, green and care sectors are expected to be in demand, right? So something to think about, not just about your projects, but about your creativity. I think as artists, we can make a difference in any of these 3 areas. Yeah. So you just click next. So digital economy, we heard quite a few. We can move next. The green economy, I think they are not just that group, but many others. Next. And of course the care economy. Next. So to summarize, I think for the arts, it will be like this. There will be a lot more freelancing. Gone are the days of full-time jobs with full-time actors, national companies. I think that's really a dream of the past. Prioritizing, which is a skill that we all need to have, because as a freelancer, sometimes you have so many jobs. Then you have to prioritize and choose what is meaningful for you, or what will bring some money to the table for you to pay your whole bill. Right? So I think this is a skill that we need to think about, and of course budgeting. Because you cannot just do lots of passion, and then you have nothing to eat. Yeah? Okay, next. So, the question that I want to leave all of you with is, are you ready for the future of work? Are you ready for what's going to happen? Right? And in our context, the project that we're going to be pitching. Okay? So you may want to start thinking, getting your CVs ready, getting the interviews, right? Because we never know. Maybe when we tell people or when they come for the exhibition, they might find some of your ideas really exciting. They might want to interview some of you, right? So we don't know. Okay, so be ever ready in your team. Okay, next. Okay, so this is the last thing. Maybe I think they played this trailer. This one is a very short one. This project came about when COVID happened. Don't know what to do. Just read here.
Are we, Lisa?
So this is a crazy special project that happened in 2015. And we do it live. So it's an online show that is done live, which many people find quite puzzling. Because, why don't you just show the video? And I think the biggest lesson we learned is that showing the video is very different from being in the same space at the same time. So we're doing it 2 more times at the New Zealand Fringe in February, end of this next month, and also in Adelaide. And the Australian folks are going to do it live at a venue, so it will be hybrid. So if you like to support work by disabled artists, please join us online at these 2 shows. Okay, that's all. Okay? Thank you.